Hi, I'm Allison. Fun fact, my mom gave me this mug. I share videos about parental and family narcissism, breaking that generational cycle, and embracing your best self. My beautiful, lovely fellow children of narcissists, our family is our core wound. That's a lot of the shadow work that we have to work through. But other shadow work has to do with how our experiences within our family of shame and abandonment seep into our other relationships. With our coworkers, our friends, our partners, people we meet on the street, at the market, and everywhere. Everyone we encounter. I am going to share 2 examples of how abandonment and fear of manifests in my own life or has in the past, and then a few ways of how it could manifest in yours. So my relationship with my mom is obviously something I have to work through, and taking responsibility for mistakes I've made in the past is another thing that I have to work through to heal. But another thing is a series of broken friendships, fallouts that happened after high school, so a little bit before my rock bottom. And all my friendships before rock bottom were not super healthy. These particular best friendships that I'm talking about now had lots of judgment and competition, inconsistencies, conditional, like, friendship. And yeah, they fell apart, and when they did, I perceived it as me being abandoned and not cared for. I thought these people actually knew what was going on in my family, and they still left me. Like, they don't care. And then from then on, I didn't really talk about this sort of stuff until just a year ago, because I didn't think that anyone cared. Similarities between how I feel with my family and this situation is resentment, because even though they were messed up, I still had so much love there. Like, I was resentful that it was all messed up, that I was messed up, and a feeling that it was my fault. I thought that something I could have done differently could have made these relationships last. And that's kind of how I feel about my family. Like, if I had done something differently, maybe I could have helped them or fixed them. I don't have much wisdom to pass on involving this situation. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe you can relate. A second way that fear of abandonment has shown up in my life is within my romantic relationship, which I have been in for quite some time, and I'm happy to say that his healthy habits are rubbing off on me, and we now communicate instead of fight. But my past self, our past relationship prior to rock bottom, we would get into very passionate, like crazy fights, and he would say enough and he would walk away. And I perceived this as him leaving me, and anxiety would turn into panic and would mix with my anger, and I would lose my... I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I would typically go and make things worse, and then end up apologizing to avoid abandonment, even if the whole fight in general wasn't my fault. Like, it always felt like it was my fault, because I would go and make things worse and then apologize for just everything because I wanted the fight to end. It was a mess. I was a mess, and I've come a long way, and you can too if you still feel kind of stuck in this. So my old broken friendships, and you know, when I used to turn like monster in my romantic or very close relationships. That's 2 ways that fear of abandonment showed up in my life. Now I'm going to name a few possibilities of how it could show up in yours. 1 is being avoidant. This could be just with acquaintances or within a very close relationship. You could be committed, but still kind of like have an arm's length away from the person to keep yourself safe, to say you're not going to get close enough to be able to abandon me. Another way it could manifest in your life is through being controlling or manipulative, or by being controlled or manipulated by saying, I have my grip on you, you're not going anywhere, or you have a grip on me, I'm not going anywhere, you're not gonna let me. And another way is, like I said, being volatile, how I was with my boyfriend. And this doesn't make much sense, but when you're overwhelmed by emotions in the heat of the moment, in that fear of abandonment, you get scared and you may lash out and become a mean person. When we were a child, these overwhelming emotions would come and we would just want a hug, but we wouldn't get it. Maybe that's where our sense of abandonment came from, is we weren't given love when we were upset. So now, in times like these, all we want is a hug, but we don't think we're gonna get it, and so we lash out. As a kid, we were dependent, we didn't know any better, we really did need that hug. But as an adult, it's our job to give that hug, that love to ourselves, to our inner child. These abandonment issues could play out differently for everyone. I encourage you to be a detective in your life, trace back where they came from, figure out how they play out in your life today, become aware, face the problem, don't be afraid to think about it, and accept it. And that is when you can really heal, when you are in understanding. So do your research, do your self-study, give yourself a ton of love, learn to trust people, trust that they aren't going to leave you, put deposits in your relationships so that there's a solid foundation for them to stand on, and you have reason to believe that they are solid and not going anywhere. What else? I'm not sure. I think that's it. Please let me know how abandonment shows up in your life. A lot of people have told me it's really been healing for them to open up, and a lot of people haven't said that but have just opened up, and I think it's really beautiful for me to share what's going on in my life and hear what's going on in yours. So if you feel so obliged, please share. You never know who is going to read and benefit from it. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next week. I hope that you are fantastic, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace.